Tonight, some Republican lawmakers in Georgia are ramping up efforts to punish the Fulton County District Attorney, Fani Willis, after she indicted Donald Trump and 18 others. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution is reporting that Trump backers in the state are using a new law approved by Governor Brian Kemp that essentially creates a state commission that has the power to sanction or oust prosecutors that they deem are not upholding the law. One Georgia state senator vowed to file a complaint with the commission as soon as those proceedings begin in October. But that is on top of a different effort by another senator who called for a special legislative session last week to investigate and potentially impeach the district attorney. The reality is that Republican lawmakers aren't likely to have enough votes to ever remove her. That is something that was even acknowledged by Governor Kemp. Of course, that was a fact that prompted this furious response from the former president, accusing the Republican governor of blocking Willis's impeachment. Let's get more insight on this from Michael Moore. He is a former U.S. attorney for the Middle District of Georgia, so the perfect person to take our questions on this. I mean, Michael, given the fact that when you look at the landscape here, this effort from Republicans, on impeachment doesn't seem likely to work. What do you make of this new effort with the new law on potentially ousting or sanctioning prosecutors? Do you think could it work?
Well, I'm glad to be with you. I really think this is just an effort to get some press by a young senator from the North Georgia area. He shares the area with a certain representative from this state who likes to sort of throw some bombs like this. This is going nowhere. There is a law now on the books that the Republicans passed and the Republican governor's side that creates an independent commission to look at prosecutors' duties. And interestingly enough, the law requires actually prosecutors to consider every case for which there is probable cause. Well, the grand jury in the Trump case has determined by issuing the indictment that there is, in fact, probable cause to move to trial. So the sort of the nonsense rhetoric that we're hearing in this request for a special session because this particular senator doesn't like Fani Willis's decision to move forward, well, she is, in fact, bound by the new law that the Republican legislature passed to move forward with the case. And so this is just an effort to make noise.
Essentially what you're saying here is what they're trying to do is the opposite of, it goes basically completely against what this new law actually states that prosecutors in the state must do. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm saying the hunter got caught by his own trap in this case. And so the law requires the district attorney in this case to consider the charges and moving forward. So it's clear on its face. I mean, what's interesting is the Constitution of the state of Georgia sets out the formation and the creation of the district attorneys, and the voters elect those in each judicial district. And so this is an interesting time when the Republicans have decided that they think that they know better than the voters of the district, and so they should be able to come in and change the person who won that election. Who does that sound like? And so that's, again, this was a political stunt. It's a political stunt now. It's going nowhere. There are some district attorneys in the state who have brought suit claiming that, in fact, this violates the duties that they have under the Constitution as well as their First Amendment protections. And is backlash, I guess, for some effort by the district attorneys to look at classifications of crimes and make decisions on whether or not they're going to move forward, which is clearly within their discretion. So I think what we're hearing now about the Trump case and Fani Willis is just noise, and I think it's interesting that how it sort of all come back to roost.
Does it go anywhere at all? I mean, you say you don't think it ultimately will be successful, but can they start the proceedings? I mean, what could this actually look like in October?
I don't think there's a chance in the world they'll have a special session about this. If they want to make a complaint to the body of the Prosecuting Attorney's Council and to the governor's office and ask that there be a commission look into it, I'm sure he could write a letter and have something initiated like that, if you want to call it a start to it. But I just don't see it moving anywhere at all. I don't think it's going to have any effect at all on the timing of the case. I don't think it's going to be an impediment to moving forward. I think there are plenty of other obstacles that we've talked about that may come into play there with appellate courts and things like that. But this effort to have the district attorney removed, I think is a non-starter. Again, it's an effort that the Republicans made to try to campaign on, a sort of an anti-crime move forward, and they pushed this bill through. And now, this is the outcome.
What do you make of Trump? I mean, he's going after Brian Kemp, saying that he's blocking the impeachment of Fani Willis. I mean, it seems like a lot of that has to do with what appetite Republicans in the state can do with that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see some of the shots back against Kemp or other people in this case, and I certainly don't think that the district attorney is particularly bothered or certainly not immune from these kind of shots back from a defendant in a case. This happens from time to time. The question is whether or not the Republicans will get on board. And you saw this, frankly, if you think about back at the time of the impeachment, after January the 6th, you had folks who were sort of hiding under their desk and counting on the police to protect them from the mob. And then when it came time for impeachment, they didn't have the courage to vote for it. So, consciences ebb and flow, and backbones seem to grow at certain times. And this is one of those instances, I think, when, the Republicans will, right now they're circling the wagons a little bit. We'll see as this case moves forward.
Michael Moore, thank you for joining me tonight.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Is the